Alright guys, so today's quick and dirty repair is on this hydraulic line assembly. This is from my buddy Steve in the mechanics. Say hi, Steve.
Hey!
You sent this off a John Deere excavator, right? John Deere excavator.
245G?
245, yeah. Is that the one we pressed out the thing for a couple weeks ago?
It is.
Yeah, dude, small world. Alright, so this is obviously a hard hydraulic line. It's just made out of some type of steel. And the problem is the company that uses this thing, what they do with it is they run it up and down the railroad tracks, and it eats brush and like trees and stuff that grow over the tracks, so that way the trains don't hit it when they go through. And there's some inherent danger with that. Occasionally stuff gets snagged, and we think that's what caused that vibration. Who really knows? But whatever the case, this hard hydraulic line is definitely cracked. It whizzes hydraulic oil everywhere. So yeah, it looks like it started off in the weld. This weld is, to be brutally honest, you guys, it's pretty questionable, but we're gonna get this cleaned up. We'll probably hit it with the die grinder real fast, because y'all know you never want to weld over, just straight up over a crack. You want to have a nice valley to fill. We want to drill a hole at both ends if possible, and then again, we got to be very careful when we're done to blow all the metal shavings and the grit and everything else out from this line, because we don't want that getting pumped through the system, especially because I'm pretty sure this goes on after the hydraulic filter.
That's good. Nice.
Big old hole there. Where's the other end? The other end we went clean through with the die grinder, so there's just not really anything to drill. You know, normally when you work on hard steel hydraulic lines, they're really thin. They're paper thin. They're like 16 gauge, 14 gauge, some special, very resilient type of steel tubing. This stuff is really thick, like literally 3/16 of an inch thick, probably in some metric designation. But whatever the case, for this reason, we're actually going to be TIG welding it with just some plain old mild steel filler rod. And in my experience, it's really best to braze to thinner, hard steel lines. But if you got anything 3/16 thick like this or similar, very, very good. Hopefully, chances of success if we just weld it. So I'm going to be welding this with the pulse TIG process. And the reason for that is it gives us a lot of the advantages of welding with a higher heat setting without many of the disadvantages. It actually welds incredibly well. I was worried about oil contamination. It seems like we're actually able to clean most of that up. Guys, I think we'll be able to save your thing. Overall, things are going pretty well. One slight problem, however, is we are getting a little bit of contamination, just probably off of some of the residual hydraulic oil. You can get things pretty clean, but there's only so much you can do about some of the stuff that's deep inside that material and way down in the pores. So on just this area that seems to be for some reason dirtier than the rest of it, I'm going to use some stainless steel filler rod. I don't claim to be a metallurgist, so I can't really tell you how it works. However, this is great for dealing with contaminated steel. It works to fight porosity. It gives you a solid weld. True story, the person who taught me this told me something along the lines of, when he was doing pipe welding certification tests, if they had porosity, the x-ray techs, they'd give him some stainless steel wire and be like, just weld it. And usually worked, usually made things pass x-ray. So we got this welded up about as good as it's going to get. I used the pulse TIG welding process to really work to focus the arc, maximize penetration, give us the best tie-in possible while not absolutely just dumping heat into this like no other. And I feel like it turned out as well as it could in the situation. We had some contamination issues, so used a little bit of stainless steel filler and it worked like a charm. As soon as I hit it with the stainless steel filler, the bubbling and the crackling and whatnot, it just went away. You know, we ground out the contaminated weld and went over it with this, so I think it'll be good. Yeah, so overall pretty happy with how this turned out. If I had to do it again, I'd probably take the time and the trouble to set up a torch and try and smoke out the oil from this, because the thing is, the problem we're fighting is steel. It's a porous material. You can't really just glance at it and see the pores in it like you can a kitchen sponge, but they're in there. And when something's in an environment where everything is just soaked with hydraulic fluid or diesel fuel or anything along those lines, it gets down in those pores, and when you weld it, it sucks that back out and it screws with your weld. So what you can do, because you can't really clean in the pores efficiently with acetone and a paper towel, maybe try to soak it in something, maybe hit it with a torch and try and smoke all that stuff out. But this is a rush job, it's off hours, it's gotta last for a couple days until the new part comes in. I'm pretty optimistic that it will do that for these guys. So, like I said, quick and dirty repair. If you have to use a stainless steel trick, it's really best to use like 309, 312, 316, something along those lines. But yeah, we got it done. Thanks for watching, guys. More videos coming soon.